Good evening, my friends. Welcome into another episode of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Jacob. That's Nick. Down below, Mr. Casey Kinnaman. We're brought to you, as always, by our friends at Homage Apparel. You can find a link down in the description down below. I wanted to thank our Homage partners. We gave away 11 Victory Monday shirts courtesy of Homage this year. We're very excited to potentially do that again next year. Hopefully with a lot more Browns wins. We're here on this somber Tuesday to talk about it, to work it out, and to look to the future. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I miss Nick Chubb, man. I listened to that intro. I miss Nick Chubb. Mm-hmm. And the one piece of good news I have is now we can officially look forward to Nick Chubb being back on the field. And I feel like that's going to be such a fun journey to watch. I think I'm glad this is on Tuesday and the game was on Saturday because I'm a lot more calm.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even walk. I refused to watch any of the games on Sunday. That was how upset I was.
Wow. Okay.
I don't watch any of them.
I went through a lot of stages to get to this point right now where I'm okay right now. I'm okay. To me, I miss football season. Nick said it, man. I needed another week. I think I needed another 2, but it was the way that it ended immediately that really sucked. But it doesn't matter now how it ended because it ended. So it's like I got to turn the page. I just doing what we do. I got to start looking ahead. I got to start prognosticating and like messing with tinkering with things in my brain. So that's where I'm at now, man. I'm bummed, but it's I'm not angry now. I was angry.
You know what? I was angry that it ended, but I don't think I was ever angry at the game. I think I was just disappointed. And I think both of you guys can kind of back me up on that because I know you got a plethora of texts and stuff from me during that time. And I think I just kept saying something along the lines of I'm just disappointed. I'm just it's like in any other season, I don't even think it's the way that ended. It's just that it ended, and I was just having so much fun. I didn't want it to stop. And don't get me wrong, I'm very upset with the way they played, and I was very not happy. And I think there were so many times in that game you can point to where it's like, man, if you could have just made a play here, like that first pick six, man. If James Hudson isn't an absolute fucking turnstile quota at right tackle, he throws the ball away. It gets out of bounds. And then let's say you just you're in field goal range, and let's say you kick it. It's a 7-point game right there. Then all of a sudden, it's 31-14, and you're still like, whatever. And then you telegraph it, and you throw that other pick six, and you're like, okay, it's over. Like, we're done here. But you can point to several different times in that game where you're like, man, if you could have just done this here, then maybe it's different.
I think it makes sense to start there because I just want to tell you both, of all the outcomes that this game could have had, like you could have told me Houston would win, and I could have accepted that because I did think that this game that Houston's a talented team, but the way that the Browns lost in true, we were playing Wonder Grid in the third quarter. We're just I thought about this playoff game.
He keeps saying day. That like I know what that is.
It's a sports trivia game.
Okay.
That like an NFL sports trivia game. It'll be like Baltimore Ravens Hall of Famer and also played for the whoever. That type of thing. But okay, so I thought about this game every day leading up to it. And we get to it, and we're a little more than halfway through, and it's it's barely even there because they're getting their doors blown off. And that, to me, is the most surprising, right? I just want to know where both of you come out. What were your reactions when it's not even a close game? We're sitting here, and we're like, well, we're down 21 or whatever it got to. And that's
31, just so we're clear.
Okay, I see. I just blocked it out. What were your reactions to when it dawns on you that we're gonna get blown out? Where's your head at?
Well, I think I was the most disappointed in my inability to have the pulse of the team because we had watched the defense not travel for so many weeks that it was part of what they were. But then we did see them when they played in Houston on Christmas Eve. They did travel. The defense did bring it. They brought the juice, And I didn't even think it was a possibility that they wouldn't. I was like, they're laser focused. It's, survive and advance. You lose and go home. Of course they're going to be focused. That wasn't even in my mind. And then I watched what we saw all season happen. The defense did not travel. In the first half, it was JOK and a bunch of guys going through the motions. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, man.
What is that?
Disbelief at all the talent on the field and watching them just, and like, I'm not trying to be down on like certain people or aspects, but I honestly, man, Bobby Slowick,
yeah,
he schemed up Jim Schwartz. He had him from jump, and there was no pivot. They had counter punches to everything that we did, and we had nothing for them in that respect. It just kept trying the same old stuff, and they just kept pivoting and making good decisions. And that first half, man, because then there was a tale of two halves, and neither of the tales were good. The first half defense sucked. Second half, the defense comes out and gets a stop, and then I'm like, okay, now we go. And then
they start moving the ball.
Yeah, right down the field. It's like, okay, this is what we're used to seeing now. And then the pick six happened, and it's like, okay, well, we can overcome that because we've overcame so much other bullshit. That's like, all right, that's what's next. And then the second pick six, and at that point, it was like a splash of like cold water in my face. The realization, like, oh shit,
yeah,
we're not digging ourselves out of this hole. And that sucked, man. That was it for me.
What about you, Jacob? Take me through the emotions where you're at.
Yeah, shit. It's if you're looking. I didn't want to make a side note real quick though. It's like if you are looking for the next great offensive mind and you're hiring right now, I would at least give Bobby Slowick a call because that dude was like in his bag all freaking. They didn't even touch CJ Stroud because they had all like they got so outcoached, and I haven't seen that. Like the coaching has been so good this year, and like there's been times when the defense has not performed, but I never felt like it was because schematically they didn't have a shot. I thought there was just some times where, Jim Schwartz has gotten schemed up, but he was absolutely like, he was a non-factor completely. There was absolutely nothing he was doing in that game. To me, it was just insane because I hadn't seen it that way. I had seen it where like they exploited weaknesses, but it was like you just exploited their existence in this game. Yeah. Like I was just like, I think when that first pick six happened, and it definitely when the second one happened, I said, well, shit. I was like, well, shit. And I just sat down and I was disappointed. Yeah. I was sad. I was mad too because then the next day Greg Newsome said he didn't play that bad.
Come on, man.
That was a
tone deaf.
He's a
like the contract.
Let me put it this way. His 5th-year option is coming on the table. I would decline it and trade it. That's what I would do. That's where I'm at. I'm going to write it up in the next couple of days.
Okay.
If you cannot take accountability, and I get it, and Josh is talking about some of the stuff with Myles Garrett, and Myles Garrett turned into old Myles Garrett this week and started chucking people under the bus like he did in the previous years under Joe Woods and kind of shed it off and blamed other people. Greg Newsome's done that. And that surprises me because he grew as a leader this year. I thought Myles Garrett was a fantastic leader this year until that game where he decided afterwards he was just going to shit all over everybody.
Yeah, what is that, right? Because we have hard evidence leading up to this game that the culture is better. Myles Garrett talks about how this is the closest group they've ever been a part of. JOK is talking about the one goal, the one mindset. You're hearing from these players talking about how different things are, and then they lose this game, and all of a sudden we're calling out coaching, and I didn't play that bad, and like it's like a complete shift. Some between.
I think that's just emotions. I think that's just
okay.
When it comes to the whole, because go ahead, Casey.
What's the finality of it?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when the mission's still on, you're saying the right things because there is a tomorrow. When there is a no tomorrow, you saw the difference though. You saw Newsome take his stance. You saw JOK say that he could have played better, that his eyes weren't right a few times. He balled his face off, but he was worried about the couple of mistakes he did make and taking accountability for them. So you see the difference. You know what I mean, between players. The Miles thing is puzzling. He did say that the thing he said after we got outcoached was we also failed to execute. It would help if he said I in any of that, not we. Like take account, like grab that. You know what I mean? Because he didn't play well in that. And that's not, dude. Laramie Tunsil's a legit dude.
Yeah.
And if everyone who attempts to block Miles 101, Tunsil's one of the better. He's had one of the better outcomes over time because he's faced Miles a few times, and Miles has really never gotten off against Laramie. I'd say, and Miles is always going to win reps. But you said it earlier. They didn't pressure him. What do we think this defense was going to do? Was it going to pressure CJ and play sticky ass man coverage and do the things that Stroud struggles against? Well, they got 8 total pressures, and CJ had 6 completions in that, and he had a pass dropped for the record. He should have been 7 of 8. So he stepped up to what he wasn't good at, and the Browns didn't do near enough of what we considered them elite at. Yeah. So
it felt.
So what part of this show am I going to go over my mock draft?
Well, hold on here. I need to make a disclaimer here. We attempted to have Dave Bacon on the show this evening, and we're having technical difficulties getting Dave on the StreamYard account. So, look, it is my mission, hell or high water. At some point, we will have Dave Bacon on this show. Doesn't look like it's going to happen tonight. We thought there might have been a shot. Say that again?
Will you respond to him then?
I did, didn't I? Has he got another one?
No, it didn't come through to me. You may have just hit reply and not reply all.
What was the last thing?
It's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. I responded to the last thing I saw.
Okay.
He's trying to get his camera to work. We'll end up getting it. If we don't get it tonight, it'll happen in the future. I just want to put that out there. Dave's the man, and I will not rest till he is on the show, and we get to have Dave after
the F word.
There you go. You know what? Just as like you know what? It felt very similar to me to when the Browns played the Rams, and you saw Matt Stafford just know what the Browns were trying to do defensively, pick them apart, and the pass rush not really breathe on Matt all game, despite the fact that he's not really a mobile quarterback. And like, I get that. That's Matt Stafford. That's Sean McVay. Those are established guys that are going to get theirs if you give them the opportunity. So that's fine. I understand that. But when you're going up against a rookie quarterback and just this, I mean, honestly, it looked so similar to what Matt Stafford did to us, but it's CJ Stroud and it's Bobby Slowick and it's the Houston Texans who, for all that we said that the Browns were on house money, I mean, the Houston Texans were widely predicted to have one of the worst records in the NFL entering the season. So when those and all the props in the world, I said before, CJ Stroud is going to be a household name forever. Amazing. Good for him.
The funny part about that? Everybody was like, why would you give the Arizona Cardinals your draft pick? It'll be really high and the Browns won't.
What? That is the biggest brain. I thought they were the dumbest people on the face of the earth when they made that decision. I was like, who in their right mind is going to pick the Houston Texans to finish above the Cleveland Browns? And so I got Crow. I don't, that's the thing. It's like, how did you let a rookie quarterback and Bobby Slowick and this team that is just not even supposed to be there look like Matt Stafford and the Rams and what they did to you offensively? That's my big sticking point here, I guess.
Yeah, it was just a disappointment. It was just like, hey, we had this magical ride, and the last time we were in Houston, we played pretty well, and apparently that was all they needed. It's like apparently all they needed was to see them one time, and they were like, don't worry about it. We'll take care of them the next time they come to town. And it was just like, I felt like some things caught up to them. I felt like the tackles caught up to them.
Yeah.
I think the tackle situation was really piss poor in that game, and especially James Hudson. I got to bring this number up to tell you how bad James Hudson was, because that was something. But that was something I thought caught up to the offense, at least, because you were sitting in a position where you were like, okay, you know, that pressure on Flacco that causes the pick six to start the game, or not to start the game, but to start the second half on the first possession for the Browns. It was on, you know, James Hudson finishes, he had a 39 pass blocking grade. I wanted to bring up the actual numbers here. James Hudson, 7 pressures, 5 hurries, 1 hit, 1 sack. The Browns allowed 22 pressures in this game, 7 from James Hudson, who led the team. You had 6 from Geron Christian on the other side, who also led up a sack, 5 hits, or 5 hurries, 4 from Wyatt Teller, 3 from Joel, 2 from Posick, and that's your 22. So your 2 tackles allowed 13 pressures.
Yeah.
Do you want to know how many pass blocking snaps they had? Because it wasn't very many. It looks like they had 21. 21 pass blocking snaps. Those numbers are in 21 snaps. There's no way. Why is that saying? Oh, true pass sets.
Yeah,
sorry, true pass.
Flacco threw it what, like 46 times
48,
or something?
48. They had 48 pass blocking snaps.
Okay.
So Hudson had 48 pass blocking snaps, 7 pressures. Geron Christian played 53. So it's 53. Yeah, okay, 53. 53. Jesus. I can't read numbers tonight. That's how pissed I am. I can't even read these numbers.
And I feel like overall it was kind of either or, where you're either not getting anything from the run game or your tackles are a problem, but not both, right? And in this game, you ran the ball 17 from your running backs. You ran the ball 17 times for, I think, 44 yards, which is in the 3 something a carry, the low 3s. Math is hard. And your tackles couldn't protect, right? So it's like, if Joe Flacco is going to be your whole offense, you have to protect him. And they were abysmal at doing so. There was just no the Houston pass rush was healthy this time, and that was probably my greatest fear. And they just made those tackles look. And that's the other piece.
James
too,
Hudson looked like an absolute fool. James Hudson was on roller skates that whole game.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah.
Well, the Hudson thing's puzzling because when they drafted him, it was almost like, okay, this is the succession plan for Conklin, and then it didn't go well, and they re-signed they extended Conklin. It's like, that to me that was a referendum on Hudson's development or lack thereof. But then you go and draft DeJuan Jones, and Hudson gets pushed even further to the back burner, and their plan at no point was to have him starting games at tackle coming into the year.
No. Certainly not in the playoffs.
No, but it was like that the last time we made the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were starting guys, the quarterback to know the name of the guy. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly the same position we were in. Well, I'm not going to say that quarterback's name or the guy's name, but yeah, that happened.
I wrote this down to make sure I brought it up. DeJuan Jones makes this game so much different. Like, offensively, the defense still would have got schemed up and down, left and right, and everything like that. Although I tell you what, Grant Delpit would have made a big damn difference too. Wow. Like, there's 2 guys right there that are on injured reserve that I think at least help. Like, DeJuan Jones makes a massive difference in this game in my mind. I don't know what Grant Delpit did. The safeties were really bad in this game. Ronnie Hickman turned back into a pumpkin as a deep safety in this game. He did not play well. Ronnie Hickman ends up with a 24 coverage grade.
Oh, God.
Just so we're clear, that's barely worse than Greg Newsome's 28, but he didn't play well. He didn't play bad. He told you he didn't play bad. Yeah, it's okay. Suck my dick.
What do you think? Why do you think the defense is so much worse on the road?
I've been asking myself this because
all year.
I am, well, not even just all year, because as soon as this was over, man, after I got past my grieving stage, I started looking at the future like, okay, what gets us over the hump? And that's a huge part of it. Getting this immensely talented defense to play the same they do at home on the road. Because at home, they literally give up twice as many points on the road. Like, it's not like something we're imagining. Like, that is like what happens. How do you eliminate that? Because it can't just be the juice of the crowd. Like, I don't know, Nick. I wish I had a damn answer for you because I'm killing myself trying to come up with the reasons because the talent is clearly there. And when you see when this team, when they play with juice on the defensive side of the ball, offenses can't even drive the damn ball.
Yeah.
And when they're out there lifeless, people just have their way with them. It's also the same with this. How come they suck at goal to go? How come they suck when teams get in the red zone? Like, you're good all the way from 20 to 20. You're the shit. But as soon as they get inside the red zone, they can't come up with answers. And part of it, because I don't know, man. I do see a lack of effort. There's probably a lot of things that all wrap up into one, but that is the first thing they have to figure out this offseason on the defensive side of the ball. And I don't know to what ends they have to go to figure that out.
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. If I had the answer to that, I wouldn't be here.
Fair enough.
Because it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, and I get the players that are missing. Like I said, Grant Delpit makes a difference in that game. I truly believe that. I think even definitely Mo Hurst makes a difference in that game. Just looking solely at the guys, I don't think Juan Thornhill really was himself for really much of this year at all. No. In my mind. But once he get that calf injury and he just never seemed to get it. He got close to 100%, it would seem, because he would have some good games here and there and just never really got back there. And that really hurt because their safeties were just not prepared in this game. They were not ready for how CJ Stroud was pushing the ball vertically and, things of that nature. But I don't know, man. It's disappointing. The injuries caught up to an extent, and I think there was a little bit of stubbornness on the defensive side of the ball that Schwartz just continued to throw the same thing out there thinking it was going to change, and it didn't. And it's just like we've seen him make adjustments and do things and change because the Browns were known defensively for letting up scores on the first drive, even at home, and then shutting things down. They quite often looked bad on the first drive of a lot of their defensive, a lot of their games early in the first quarter, especially. Then all of a sudden they flipped the switch on come second quarter. It felt like going through this, but they just, I don't know, man. They got out coached. They got outperformed every facet of it. And I think it was really, honestly, that simple.
I do want to say this though. There's always this overreaction and then all of a sudden people look at people as problems. I'm seeing discourse like, what do we do about Juan Thornhill? Let him heal? Like, what do you mean? Yeah. What do we do about him? Like, let him get healthy and see what he looks like fully healthy, and then judge that. I think that's the move. And people are like, all of a sudden, well, Hickman sucks. And he sucked in that game. He was good leading up to that game. I'm not throwing what I saw for 5 games out. I know what's happened in playoffs was unfortunate and it sucked. But I did see the promise in the kid to stay invested in him and his development. You know what I mean? So don't overreact, man. Yeah, it was a bad game, but it doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I mean? It's like there's enough talent there to work with. They just have to iron some shit out.
Like there's a lot of people that would have said that Dak Prescott was having an MVP season and that the Cowboys were neck and neck with the Browns in terms of defense, right? And they got smashed by Green Bay as well. And I just don't see the same like, oh my God, Dak's terrible now, and the Cowboys have to start from scratch. No, they might fire Mike McCarthy. I get that, but my point is, they are.
Jerry's bringing Bill to town, bud. I'm telling you right now, he's bringing Bill to town. I don't know if it'll work, but I think
can it work with two guys with that kind of ego? And
absolutely.
I think if it goes bad, it goes historically bad. If it goes bad, right?
I think Atlanta makes a lot of sense. Like they have a lot of pieces on that defense that I think Bill could work with. I don't know, man. I think I do.
Well, here's the thing, and I really believe this. It is completely beneath him, and he would never consider this. But in a perfect world, if you could just get Bill just to be your DC, like, dude,
oh God,
it'd be nasty. I kept thinking of the Chargers, what he would look like with that personnel on defense, and the way he'd be like. To me, that would be gross. But he'll never do it because he's a head coach, and he's not going to take a step back. I just been thinking, his age, at this stage, if he just focused on defense, he'd be a problem.
What do you think? Like you're at the Chargers and you hire Bill as your DC and you hire Bobby Slowick as your head coach, and you got the number 5 pick, so you could do like all kinds of things. You could be like, get Malik, or maybe they're number 6. They're 5 or 6. You could go get Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze or Leatu Latu as who I think is the top edge in this class, or even Drazan. Like you can really get freaking weird. Obviously, never going to happen.
Yeah, never.
But I thought that would be hilarious.
No, I think Jim Harbaugh goes to the Chargers and he brings Wink Martindale as his DC.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's what I think happens.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I really hope that the Chargers botch this hire because the AFC's got enough. I've seen enough.
I know.
These 9 and 8 teams that can win a division and host a playoff game. And there's the Cleveland Browns at 11 and 5 and heading on the road is the top. I don't want to go down that road too much.
Yeah, it's tough sledding. No matter how you look at it, though, just with the amount of talent in the AFC.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to overcome that at some point and just be that. Well, the key is, man, you got to get a damn home playoff game.
Yes,
apparently
that's the key. Whatever you got to do to make that shit happen, make that shit happen.
So, okay. So this is the $1 million question, and I'll give it around to you guys because I saw some really outlandish takes, in my opinion.
Oh boy. Okay.
Because of how it ended, was the season still a success?
You want to go first? You want me to take it?
I'll go. Yes.
Because I have seen some like, fuck, all of a sudden Kevin Stefanski doesn't know how to coach anymore.
Oh my God. I just
like
there are certain objective statistics to this story that to me make the answer yes. The first is that you have the most cap space on IR. Second is that you are one of just I don't know how many other teams have made the playoffs starting 4 quarterbacks. I think it's 1 or 2. And third, you had every previous Browns team that I have known before them fails, bottoms out, goes completely into the gutter. And you have a dude who gets off the couch, leads the league in yards and passing touchdowns for the time that he's playing and leads you to the playoffs. There's so many amazing pieces to the story of just overcoming adversity and being this number 1 defense despite it, just not flinching when you have all these quarterbacks. I know the playoffs didn't go well. I understand that, but I do genuinely believe in all the culture improvement that we saw and talked about all year long. And to me, those are foundation blocks for moving into the future. So to me, season success.
Everything Nick said is true. I had more fun this year than I have in the last 35 years covering this team. I've been watching this team like a psychopath for 35 years. I haven't had this much fun since I was 10. Like yes, it was a success. God, it could have went south so many damn times. There were so many things that happened that not even just the Browns, like all the Browns would have folded any team. And you show me the team that lost a Hall of Fame caliber running back, starting quarterback, all pro right tackle. You show me the team that had that happen and persevered. It doesn't happen, man. It was a unicorn. We had a unicorn season. It ended unceremoniously, and that's shitty. There's another way to slice it. But man, this season was not disappointment, man. The foundation is laid. Like mission accomplished. Like now it's about stacking and building and becoming a perennial playoff team. And I think that's exactly, if you add those pieces and the pieces you lost along the way that you didn't even know were going to be great, like DeJuan Jones, like you're going to get these things back, man. Like you're going to, and I'm already seeing the narratives like division next year, no excuses. It's like, no excuses. That's good. Would this year have qualified as an excuse? Because I think it would have. Everything that we've seen happen, those would be excuses, right? They still, and I also seen like, well, they overachieved. No, they achieved. They achieved despite all that bullshit. Like, it's huge success, actually. Like to me, that's dumb. If you look at the season as a disappointment, then you are an unrealistic human being, and I don't think we can further this discussion.
I think this comment is where I'm at. Only one team truly succeeds. Like, and it was really funny because I'm glad that this comment came in because I've seen those tweets on Twitter all over the place. Like, I mean, if that's what we're talking about, there's only one team that holds that trophy at the end of the year. Does that mean all 31 coaches that don't win the Super Bowl each year don't know how to coach? You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
No.
is that what that means? Because
No.
like, that's what it meant because Kevin Stefanski lost in this game. Are they going? Should the Eagles fire Nick Sirianni? That's actually a different conversation that we don't have time for, but is going to be fascinating over the next few days to see how it plays because I know a few Philly fans and I know that they're but anyway, that's my point. They were in the Super Bowl, last year.
Yep.
And yeah, I get it. The AJ Brown, they had some injuries and stuff this year, and AJ Brown not playing in that playoff game, he makes a difference. AJ Brown is a fantastic player. But like, they had a bad night. They had a bad end of the year. Josh weighs in, says, what kills the playoff game and clouds the season is no one injury lost this game, just horrific team play. That's true. That's a good point. You can't point to be like, oh, if this one person was back. Like I said that if DeJuan Jones was there, he would make a massive difference. But yeah, it wasn't just one. It was like, if I had DeJuan Jones and Nick Chubb and Grant Delpit, I feel pretty good about that, right? Like those three guys, like you'd be like, oh man, that's great. But and I get what Drew's saying. Drew's on this spot on. It's all going to come back to the most important position in football next year with Deshaun Watson. And that's how it was always going to be. Josh says he wants Stefanski extended, but asking what Tomlin would do. I don't want to think about that. That's weird.
That's part of why it's such a success too, right? Because you're talking coaching extension. You're talking maybe coach of the year. We'll see how that goes. You're talking about GM extensions. Like any season where you're saying these guys did a good enough job that we want them here longer is a success in my mind, right? Because they're warranting it with the results that they have. And yes, I get it. We all wanted to reach a lot higher. But the fact that, so many people, right? And so I pulled up the anniversary of the Kevin Stefanski hire when the Browns announced it originally. And look back at those comments and see where the mentality of the team was at that time and think about it where it is now.
But he was coming off of Freddie and
and just that abomination of like Baker. What did he throw? Like 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, and
22 and 21. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I actually just looked at it today because I couldn't remember. I knew he threw 20 and 20. I just couldn't remember the actual number. And I looked at it today and I was like, man, that was a weird fucking year. Like that was a Browns season amongst Browns seasons. Like it was like ranks near the top of just absolutely flabbergastingly bad. But like you got people like, here's the thing. You have shown now to that roster and to the NFL that when you buy into what this regime is teaching, you can win games.
Yeah.
That's something that I think that is the biggest sticking point for me coming from this game is saying, hey, when we play our game, like how many times did Kevin Stefanski say something like that? Like when we play our game, this is what happens. We win games. You talk about that anniversary, Nick. Fast forward 37 wins. 37 wins in those 4 years. 4 seasons.
Most in franchise history.
37 wins in 4 years. Go count how many years prior to that it took to get to 47.
Oh,
the answer
God.
is
I don't want to. No, I refuse.
Do you want me to do? I'll do it.
I don't know if
you sick son of a bitch.
I'll do it. You guys talk. I'll do it.
Okay. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess at where it has to start to get to. We need 37 wins. 47.
We need 37.
37.
37 wins.
We need 37 wins.
Okay, I need a calculator.
I really hope it doesn't have to go back to Butch Davis.
I was about to say that. I was about to say about 2004 is my guess.
Okay. I'm gonna show Stanford to Casey. That's where it's probably has to go back.
I'm gonna say 2004 to 2019.
Because Hugh Jackson gave you 1 in 2 years, so that's not very helpful.
Chud gave you 3. Yeah. Patton did give you 1 7-win season, so that boosted. You got a 10. You got a 10 win out of the last year of Romeo, but Romeo had some 3s and some 4s.
Yeah. Did Freddie? Were they 6 and 10?
Who was the head coach? They were 6 and 10. Yeah. Who do you think was the head coach?
It's got to be.
No, you don't have to go back that far.
So
no,
Romeo?
You don't have to go back that far.
Okay, good.
No, you don't have to go back that far. You have to go back to the first season of the legendary Pat Shurmur.
Oh, God.
Okay, 2011.
So Pat Shurmur
2011
took over. That was 2011. So to get 37 wins on the nose, they had 37 wins total between 2011 and 2019. That is 8 years. That's better than I thought it would half the time.
That's fucking disgusting. I don't care. Quota.
It's better than I think. That's actually right on the. It's right on the money. Actually, it's 37. It's right on the money.
All right.
Isn't that weird?
I don't know how.
But that's 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's actually 9 seasons. 9 seasons. Stefanski's done it in 4.
Wow. And I would argue Stefanski has had challenging quarterback play, to say the least. Right? Because so there's like pieces to this that also make the season a success. And I'm glad you brought that up. Because Stefanski got competent quarterback play out of Jacoby Brissett. Stefanski got great quarterback play out of Joe Flacco. Stefanski got wins from Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker over the 49ers. And just there's so many great points to what the Browns did this year. So, no, I refuse to let one game cloud that. And I might still be upset. I'm not ready to start trumpeting from the rooftops yet, but I will. No, one game does not make this season a failure.
It's not. I don't know how someone could paint the narrative that it was. That's insane to me. And I know, like, I'm not saying just because we are better than we used to be that's success. It's not success. And Josh asked a question in the chat. It was like, can you see Stefanski hoisting the Lombardi in the next 3 seasons? Yes, I can. To me, that's among the range of outcomes, which is like, we could have never said that before. It 100% is, but it all comes down to 4. Like that's true for any team. That isn't to the Browns. Like if your quarterback can be, it doesn't even have to be tip of the spear, man. You got to have like top 6 to top 8 QB play. That's what you need if you have the right cast around them, which for the most part, I think the Browns do. So let me ask you guys this. When you look at the Browns as currently constructed, on each side of the ball, what's the biggest change that needs to happen personnel-wise to put them over the top? Like what position room do you need to bolster? And then you don't give me an exact player, but like what is it to you guys that it would give them that extra edge to put them over the top?
The wide receiver room needs a little bit of work. And I think you got to, and granted, when you get to your fourth and fifth tackle or sixth tackle or whatever tackle you're on,
you just need healthy.
Yeah, you just that situation, you just need to be healthy. I just think you never got the person, you never got the person that Marquise Goodwin was in his entire career. Like Marquise Goodwin has been a very successful deep threat player, and he gets banged up. And that's not even talking about the medical situation that really knocked him out. He comes back for the first game and he gets the concussion, and and when he's out there, him and Deshaun Watson just really didn't look comfortable together on those deep balls early in the year. And then eventually I think they just got scared to even try him because they weren't being successful. And and I think if you can find someone to do that consistently, and Cedric Tillman can take the next step, I don't even know that it needs multiple players as much as they just need to be able to find a way to be more vertical. And I'm fucking sick of saying that every damn year.
It's over.
Like every year. What? And it's like, just find one. Go get me Xavier Worthy, Roman Wilson, Troy Franklin. Do I need to go on? Give me one of them.
Hey, you know what? I know he's a bit of a knucklehead, but I remember talking all about George Pickens with that first pick they had before they traded it down.
No.
I remember. Can you imagine?
Absolutely not.
Just imagine for a moment.
I don't want to.
I'm just saying. Like, you need somebody dynamic and young in the wide receiver room. You need, and could it be Cedric Tillman? Sure. I've watched guys develop. That is totally fine. Somebody has to figure out how to be that dynamic young wide receiver. I don't know if it's Elijah Moore. I don't know if it's David Bell. I don't know if it's Cedric Tillman. I don't know who it is. Listen, I'm just saying, I watched George Pickens. George Pickens is unbelievable in catching the football. He extends his body over in this next area code, and he comes down with the ball at every point. It's I don't understand. I don't get it. It's fine, but he does it. I'm just saying.
Roman Wilson.
Fine. We'll talk all about draft.
Well, it has to be multifaceted. You can't just draft a guy and because then you're waiting on the Cedric Tillman. You're waiting on this guy to take a leap. You need to do that and do something else. You need to go get another dynamic plus starter to pair with Amari Cooper.
Do you want?
No, I've galaxy brained this out. Okay, you don't know where I'm going, do you? I don't think.
Okay, maybe right. I don't know.
All right, so there's a guy out in San Francisco who signed his 5th-year option, Brandon Ayuk. If they cannot come to terms with a contract before training camp, I make that phone call. I make that phone call. That dude's a field stretcher, a natural separator. Like I think that to me, that's the perfect fit. He's young. He fits all the criteria. He's going to be due $14 million this coming year. And I think that is a true succession plan to Amari Cooper, because I love Amari. My mind from Amari is this. You extend him this offseason for 2 years, convert his salary to signing bonus, push a couple void years, but that gives you 2 years to figure out your shit, guys. You have to get another start. You have to get another number one in this offense. I think Ayuk fits that bill.
There's a couple options.
But I love the idea of Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, T. Higgins. Like, I'd take one of them too. Gabe Davis is a free agent.
But I think Gabe Davis is I think he's what you want Cedric Tillman to be.
Yeah, probably.
But and look, man, Cedric Tillman could take that step. Dude, Michael Woods could come back and be a guy. We don't know. But I think you have to go get someone who's proven, so you're not banking on that shit. Because it might happen, and that'd be great. But if you're banking on it and it doesn't happen, then you're in the same place we are right now, and we can't have it. I think you let Moore's contract play out, and see what happens with him. But you're not banking on him. Like in my mind, he's a 3. We wanted him to be a 2. I think it's obvious he's not a 2.
Do you think so? I have two thoughts. Number one's the more obvious, right? So Jerry Jeudy just had a really down year, and he was looking at this big contract extension originally, and now the Broncos are switching out quarterbacks. Who knows what direction they're going in? That's a really weird place for the franchise, and I don't know that they're like Cortland Sutton was their best receiver all year long. Yep. Right? Is maybe Jerry Jeudy a well you could go back to at a much cheaper at a discount than you would have originally had to give up because he was so down this year. I'm just saying that's
an option. I mean, it's not the avenue I would go, but it's definitely an option. You have to get another higher end guy in here. You have to. If we want Deshaun Watson to be what we want him to be, you need to give him the toys to work with. That's the way I see it.
What's really funny is I haven't looked at a ton of free agents to even really know exactly who's going to be out there.
I've got one other trade target. I have no idea on his availability, but Marquise Brown had some weird fallout in.
I think he's a free agent.
I'm
pretty sure Marquise Brown is a free agent.
He's on. He has. Oh yeah, he is a free agent.
Yeah, he's a free agent. Marquise Brown's a free agent.
He's unrestricted or restricted. It matters.
Yeah, he's unrestricted.
Go get the Cardinals traded a first-round pick for that dude. Go get him. He's 26 years old. He's always been a speedster. He's dynamic. I don't know what happened in Arizona and why that stopped working. That's a guy I would love to have. Like not old. He's shown potential. But baby. I'm just saying, all of a sudden you guys got
Michael Pittman's a free agent.
That's bizarre. You would like the Colts should do everything they can.
They will.
Okay.
See, I look at Pittman. I look at Higgins. I look at Higgins and Pittman as guys who are probably getting franchised. Like,
okay.
Would you let them go? Would you let them walk?
No.
You try to figure it out.
Yeah. No, but there's plenty of players that walk that I wouldn't let walk either. Oh, I got a guy, Odell Beckham Jr.
The look that you gave Nick when he said George Pickens and you had the balls to say that. That's crazy.
Hey, man. I'm just saying.
He was serious. I wasn't.
Dude, I was on Sports for CLE the day of the draft banging the table for that dude.
And what did I tell you? He is an asshole and he's got kicked off the team and nobody wants to work with him. That's what I told you about George Pickens. And
that's fair, but it doesn't change the fact that he catches the ball.
He does catch footballs.
Catches the ball. Ooh, you know what? There is I need to talk about this for a second because he is my fantasy darling, and I don't care who knows. Deontay Johnson is he'll be 29 next year. I know that because I am a dynasty owner in many leagues. He is an expert route runner. He has 1 year left on his deal, and I don't think Pittsburgh wants to keep him. They don't use him like Deontay Johnson should be used. He's this 100 target guy every year, and all of a sudden he falls off a cliff too. There's a lot of wide receiver situations that all of a sudden are okay. All right, you guys got my juices flowing. This is all it took. Now I'm thinking, like, who can we add? What can I trumpet and parade from the rooftops about how our offense is going to be great?
Why not? Why not Mecole Hardman? Just make another run at Mecole Hardman, man.
I guess. I mean,
just get somebody call Juan Thornhill and get him on the old Twitter and get him to call up Mecole and see what we got going on next year. I mean, he's still playing, I guess. Hardman's still playing, right? Yeah, he's at KC. Didn't he go to KC? They traded him back, didn't they? Yeah. Hey, Van Jefferson.
Casey's question though. Casey, the unit I need to see improved in the Cleveland Browns is this is the first season that the Browns could not run the ball. I understand that you lost Nick Chubb, right? But the offensive line blocking fell off a cliff in terms of run blocking. They could not figure it out. I'm not saying you need to go out and add whoever, but you need to figure out how to configure this unit. Is it going to be Jack Conklin's money's guaranteed? I don't know what you're going to do with that. DeJuan Jones shows all this promise. Whatever. Is Jedrick Wills going to be like, because this is going to be his 5th-year option, right?
Yes, sir.
So you've got a lot of choices looming here. Like Joel Bitonio, love the guy. Definitely, has had his struggles as he battled injuries this year. There's a lot of questions there as to how do you get back to that fearsome offensive line unit.
I like what Connie's saying though. Isn't it nice to know we don't have to start from scratch? We're just and I'm kind of like pooling here. We're talking about role players. We're talking about certain types of wide receivers, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, you feel good. David Bell had 2 really good games, and Drew in the Brick City, our good friend Drew, he mentioned that as well. As a David Bell truther, I really appreciated seeing those last couple of games from David Bell getting some attention and some love. As I've been a David Bell, I've taken a lot of fire after they took David Bell, and I said things like, "Oh, he's Jarvis Landry."
Question.
Yeah.
So you don't have to give me a player, just a position. Every year, Andrew Berry trades a day 3 pick for an impact player. Every year, right?
He does a trade.
I just need a position. Who is Andrew? What position is Andrew Berry trading a day 3 pick for that's going to come and be an impact player here next year?
Safety.
I'm gonna say running back.
Ooh.
Running back feels like a pretty solid choice too, actually.
Well, you're not guaranteed. Here's the thing, man. If anyone could overcome the injury that Chubb had for the second time, it would be Nick Chubb.
Agreed.
No guarantees, though. There's no guarantees that he's 100% of the guy that he was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Chubb at 90% is better than the rest of the league. Like I can get with that. But you need to have another option other than Jerome Ford. You
Agreed.
need to, because even if Chubb is healthy, it's a pitch count. You don't come back and just see that name down there. You guys see that name down there?
Oh.
I can get with that.
Listen, Austin Eckler hurt his ankle.
I didn't even consider. Sorry, I was just going to say I didn't even consider that until I read it.
No,
Go ahead.
Eckler was amazing up until this year. He hurt his ankle. He was never right all year long. Imagine he gets healthy, right, and he wants to play for another payday. Oh man,
is he a free agent?
I think so.
He didn't do the remember he held out and they didn't give him the contract.
This is fun.
Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know if he had.
I don't know. He might be restricted, but
yes, he is. He is. No, he's unrestricted.
See, then boom.
No, he's unrestricted.
All right. Yeah, that's definitely an
actually,
option, and that gives you an extra dynamic.
Listen to this. This is actually truly, truly fascinating because you could go a lot of different ways. These are the following running backs that are significant running backs that are currently set to be free agents. And that's not without there's some guys lower on this list. Like J.K. Dobbins is an interesting one. Matt Breida is a free agent. Dearness is a free agent. A.J. Dillon's a free agent. But here's some names at the top of the list that are very interesting. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Saquon Barkley, Austin Eckler, Cordero Patterson, Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary. Those are all free agents after this year. You might have a pretty good spot at making a run at one of those. I didn't realize that. Like I said, because the Browns were good and were about to play a playoff game, I haven't looked at – I've done my draft stuff because that's what I do, but I haven't done a ton of free agency work. I've been mostly focusing on who our free agents are that we need to keep and who we need to let walk, which I will be writing an article about. Oh, yeah, Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's on that list. DeAndre Swift's on that list. I want DeAndre Swift in Cleveland so bad.
No team has been able to figure out his usage yet. Have you noticed that? That worries me.
Yeah, I mean, he still had 1,000 yards.
And they both, but the usage was wonky. He's a tremendously talented player, but for whatever reason, no one can get the pulse on how to utilize his skill set, which is unique. But I don't know. That's a puzzler to me when you see a guy that talented.
Do you realize
and for whatever reason, dude's not always on the field. It's like, that's weird.
Do you realize he's only 25?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. The University of Georgia running back.
I thought he was older than that. It feels like he's
been in the league for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about this because we know who's under contract, but we are severely over the cap. But there's going to be restructures. That's how business gets done. And there's going to be, if you look at Nick, you look at Amari, Joel, Wyatt, all these guys are going to be up for restructures. But there is a chance that if someone doesn't restructure, they just cut them, right? Because the cap savings would tell you, if like Wyatt Teller doesn't want to restructure, they'll probably save $8 million.
Oh, you're not ready.
I'm ready. I just think that's
where I start.
The conversation we need to have. Well, because there's a ton of contracts on the books, high-end guys, and they're going to restructure. They restructure every year, and you can kind of look ahead and see which ones will be the candidates, and we kind of run over a few of them. But, like, if someone doesn't come to the table to restructure, you're at the point now where, like, you might just have to cut them. You know what I mean? Like, that's where we're at in the game. And you think Teller's, like, the biggest name in that? That if he doesn't come to the table to restructure?
Mm. Who else?
So I'm looking at
Amari's due like 23. Okay. I think he will restructure. Nick Chubb's due 12.
If you cut Wyatt Teller,
say 8.
If you cut Wyatt, you can't cut Nick Chubb because his cap is 60. If you cut Wyatt Teller, you save $16.7 million and you only have $5 million in dead cap, and that's a pre-June 1st cut.
Mm-hmm.
If you cut Wyatt Teller with a post-June cut, you get Wyatt Teller. You would only get $5 million in savings and you'd have $6 million in dead. So you'd actually want to cut him pre. You could cut Jack Conklin and save $27 million and he'd only have $14 million in dead cap.
That's one. Now, I love Jack.
That one's interesting.
It sucks because he got hurt, week 1. But with DeJuan Jones, like,
that's it.
You can't. I don't know. Like, obviously, DeJuan's a rookie, and it's smaller.
Sorry, I got those flips. I was telling you the dead cap versus the cap savings. I had those flipped.
So, it would save you $14 million and cost you $27 million to cut Jack.
Yeah.
Because they guarantee a lot of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Conklin would be 15. He would. Yeah, so you would get. If you cut Conklin, you would get $14 million. You would have $14 million. You wouldn't save money. You would lose money.
So they're probably going to keep Conklin going into next year.
Teller,
would we say that's safe to say?
Teller would have 16.
Yeah, but he might be asked to restructure too.
Okay.
If you cut Wyatt Teller, you would get $6.5 million. You have $5 million in dead and $6.5 million on post June 1.
That probably depends on like how do they feel about. I guess I wonder, is it Luke Whippler that would be your guard? I'm not sure. Who would be your guard?
You would bring in a guard if you did that. I think
you would bring in a guard, okay.
Or you'd start Michael Dunn over there. I mean, you could put Michael Dunn over there.
I think he has been probably the best fill-in that the Browns have had in terms of that type of like guard play over the years. I feel like he's stuck around the roster for a reason. I don't know if he's like, would you feel comfortable being your starter?
I don't know. I'm looking at some of this stuff, but I think Wyatt Teller is one that comes to mind right away as a cut candidate. That's just my thought.
Well, you have to free up cap. So they're going to restructure a ton of guys.
Okay.
Miles probably gets restructured. You just look at the contracts.
Denzel, maybe.
But we did talk about one thing, and it sucks because I'm not saying I'm not down on Jack Conklin, but I am very high on DeJuan Jones. How the hell do you keep him off the field? How do you stop his development? I look at him as a potential All-Pro right tackle. That's what I see
Okay.
is on the horizon for him if he just takes that one step. And with Bill Callahan there, I think that DeJuan Jones can take that one step. And you're going to stifle his development by starting an older, injury-prone Jack Conklin, or are we just waiting for him to get hurt? Because that's the inevitability.
Do you think you could get like so with Jack's guarantees at his age, he's probably not going to be like premium, but obviously most teams are lineman hungry, especially tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you could get like a pick of some sort?
It'd be a late pick. It'd be a late pick for Jack.
Like a fifth,
but
a sixth?
It might be one of those like reverse things where you give them a pick and Conklin for a little bit of an earlier pick, like a fifth.
Yeah.
And you get like a fifth for him and a six, and then and it's mostly a deal where you're trying to free up money.
Sure. I get that.
In coming episodes, we will actually be prepared for these conversations.
This is fun.
That's no fun. Yeah, that's no fun. Let's shoot from the hip, boys.
I forgot how fun this could be. Off-season Browns are great. I'm here. I've arrived. I'm ready. Draft talk, free agency, March free agency, April draft. Let's go. I'm ready. It's January. We're 2 months away, right? 2 months away from free agency. Oh, baby.
Yeah, we're 98 days from the draft. I think that's the number.
Which I just got to say, I am so excited because this is the final year of missing those premium picks. Like that. So we talked about the year not being a waste. I know we're going a little long here, but I just want to dive into this for a bit. I think now Andrew Berry's not perfect, but we have seen a lot of guys. Ronnie Hickman laid an egg at the end. I get that, but that's an undrafted free agent who contributed in a meaningful way. DeJuan Jones, Cam Mitchell. Just from this draft class, there's guys that you look at and you say, hey, you saw the development of Alex Wright this year. You see maybe Jordan Elliott ends up sticking around on a little cheapy deal. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm just saying there's a lot of reason to believe in Andrew Berry's drafting. What's the show's? How are we feeling about Andrew Berry's drafting at this point?
I mean, I've always felt good about it.
Yeah, well, I because of the way he's had to go about the draft for the last two drafts, you feel good about this upcoming draft. But eventually, this man's gonna get first-round picks back. You know what I mean? So this is the last year of us being in the weeds and having to find gems in the rough.
Thank God.
And then that following year, homeboy gets a first-round pick unless he trades that shit away.
Yeah, like you finally get that relief that you're like, wait a minute, shit, I get a top
early picks.
It's like all right.
I get to watch Thursday of the draft, and my team gets to pick. Wow.
Hopefully, it's a 32nd pick too.
Oh yeah, that would be.
Here we go.
I think. I just want to say thank you to you both because I entered the show really depressed, and I'm leaving thinking about free agency and the draft, and I'm ready. I'm ready. 2-day hiatus, break over. We're ready to start talking Browns hype again. So thank you to you both.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
With that being said, thank you to everybody for being here, for liking, for subscribing, we're going to do more giveaways. We're going to do fun stuff. So I will be paying up on the spicy chip bet. I think next week I'm going to have a whole bag of ghost pepper chips, and I'm just going to eat them throughout the whole show. And I'm going to be sweating. I'm a sweater. It's just the way it is. So we'll have some fun with that. But we have all kinds of off-season fun for you. We have all kinds of surprises for you. Stay tuned to what's coming next. Lots of fun stuff. We promise. This has been episode 1.
I stopped counting.
My guess is 137. That's my guess.
No, it's like 140, I think.
Okay. We're going to call it 139.5. Split it. 138.5. Split it right in the middle.
Yeah, whatever. Of
the Barking Brown Show. And Nick. He's Jacob. That's Casey. Go Browns.
Yeah.